All right, guys, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, October 10th. It is 2:03 right now. Scheduled mentoring sessions for 2 o'clock. Sorry for the late start, guys. Had some technical issues here, but I did get it going. So it looks like we are good to go. Let me just finish setting everything up here. And we should be good to go. Looks like we are good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. I gotta find the mentoring session. Whenever it's that. There we go. It's good. All right, I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in, and we'll get started shortly. All right, looks like people are still making their way in, so I'll get a few moments for people to make their way into the room, and then we'll get started shortly. And as people join in, you guys can go ahead and put your questions. So good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, October 10th. It is 2:05 right now. Our scheduled mentoring sessions for 2 p.m. This mentoring session is pretty much open Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Whether you guys are on the YouTube or whether you guys are on the Zoom, I'll answer questions on both sides. So whatever questions you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. I think the main focus for today's session is to cover the High Low Scalp version 2. So I'll be covering it on 1 minute, and I'll cover the variation that I applied to it on the 5 minutes. Pretty much the same thing. It's just less restrictions because it's on the higher time frame. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll get a few more moments for people to make their way in. But if you guys have any questions yourselves, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll answer whatever questions you guys have specifically. But as people continue to join in, I'm going to go ahead and start updating the spreadsheets over here to make sure everything is proper. So 3360. I think this is good too. I'll just update the spreadsheets, make sure everything's cool. Here is the momentum counter scalp. Now that we have so many entries here, I might have to make some adjustments to spread these up or split these up by month. I think everything's good here for the most part. Good. Let's see who's here so far. Hey, PC, how's it going? All right, guys. So we're about a few minutes in. I think majority of people who planned on being here today are here. So if there's any questions that you guys have, again, this session is going to be pretty much open Q&A if you guys haven't been to a mentoring session before. So if there's any question that you guys have regarding any of the strategies, any entries you guys took, any analysis that you guys are interested in, just go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and then I'll answer them as they come in order. For the most part today, our main focus is going to be reviewing the new strategies that I've been testing. The High Low Scalp V2 on the 1 minute and the High Low Scalp V2 on the 5 minute, which I've kind of been looking at. I haven't really been testing that one, but for the most part, I'll go down and I'll show you guys examples, and I'll pretty much just show you guys, how it's applied. It's a very simple strategy. It's just a small variation to the normal high-low scalp. It's more of a careful way of applying it. Instead of entering right away, you kind of wait for the fake out and then you look for the continuation. So just updated pretty much all the spreadsheets here. So looking at the strategies that we've been testing. So looking over here at the looking at the momentum counter scalp. We've been testing this since August 7th up until October 10th. So a full 2 months now. A total stats for this specific strategy is 26 wins, 9 losses, total profit of 350 pips, total trades of 35 trades with a win-loss ratio of 74.29%. This has about a 2-to-1 risk reward. So as long as it's like more than, I guess, like 70, it should be fine. It should be profitable. Looks like, there's days here where obviously you could avoid it. Like on the 4th here, we didn't take this trade. I put notes here for, what happens during that specific day. And again, if you guys are not familiar with these spreadsheets pretty much have documented all the trades that have come up from like the starting date up until today. If you guys are new to the group, or you guys are new to the Discord, if you guys want to see these spreadsheets, just go over to the Discord channel, go down to Trading Journal. And if you go to Trading Journal, if you go down to 2023 official live trades, this has a spreadsheet of every trade I've taken. If I've taken from January 2023 up until October. So if you guys want to look at every trade we've taken this entire year, it has every markup for every trade that we've taken, has some explanation if necessary, and some details regarding the strategy if there's any notes regarding any of the entries. So looking over here for October, we've pretty much had a 100% win-loss ratio. We've had about 6 trades, all wins from October 3rd up until October 10th. And it's been a pretty smooth month. So if you guys want to look and see what trades we took for this month, it has a strategy documented right here: momentum counter scalp, momentum pullback scalp. And then if you guys want to look at the actual markup for that specific entry, you'll go over to markup, open that up, and it'll give you a markup of that same exact trade that we took. So if you guys want to go back and look, feel free to take a look at that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, this is pretty much what the spreadsheets look like. I've covered every strategy or every trade we've taken this year for the strategies that we're currently testing: momentum counter scalp, momentum counter scalp, breakout V2, intraday scalp, and now the high low scalp V2. They're all like small variations to the original strategy. Mostly the biggest change would be like a TP stop loss for a 1-to-1. And this pretty much covers everything. So if you guys are on the Discord, just go down to Trading Journal. I have a spreadsheet available to all you guys here. Whenever we document any of these trades, we we document the markup, have any notes there, and this will pretty much give you guys an explanation as to like what happened for that specific day. So I'm gonna go over here and just copy this over because this is from today's entry as well, so that we have an idea of like what was going on today. Anyways, let's see what's here so far. Hey, CJ, Stern. Hey, Aaron, how's it going? Oh, I know you're on opposite time zone over there in Australia. So I'm glad to see you on here. Thanks for attending our session. I'm going to try to get back on your sessions. I haven't been online during Asia session because I just try to avoid trading during that time, but I'll try to hop onto your stream. But yeah, thanks for attending. Let's see. PC said if you omit trades taken in the first 10 minutes of session, the momentum counter scalp, the gains will be better. Yeah, I started to notice that too, PC. So looking over here from our spreadsheet, and this is why I created the spreadsheet here so that you guys can have documentation of like which entries come up. So the thing with that criteria, PC, is that would change the entire strategy, right? If we were to skip the first 10 minutes. But it does make sense. So if you look over here for a lot of the losses happen. Well, I mean, it wouldn't change the entire strategy, but if we were to put that as one of the criteria, we would just have to change this to only valid between 6:40 and 7 o'clock. So PC does bring up a good point, because if you look at any of the losses here, a lot of them happen like, earlier in the session. A lot of the good entries come up like later, but it just depends on the market conditions for that day. But no, thanks for bringing that up, BC, and I'll probably put that on my notes if we need to make some adjustments to the strategy moving forward. However, moving forward, I think I'm going to probably focus on just 2 strategies. So this might not even be one of the official strategies that we'll look at. We'll try to keep one on open, and then we'll keep one, or obviously we'll keep 2 all-day strategies during the live session, and then we'll try to keep 1 just for open. So I think for the open one, it's going to have to be between the momentum counter scalp or the breakout V2. They both have decent win rates. The breakout V2 obviously has more profits here because it is a 1-to-1 risk reward, and it does go for a higher TP with each trade. So I mean, we'll play around with it, and we'll see what strategy will be our go-to moving forward. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to put it in the chat. There's a lot of stuff to cover because I feel like now that we've kind of transitioned to Discord, there's a lot of new things here that people are a little bit not too familiar with. So if you guys have any Discord questions, just let me know. I'll go over everything here again. So if you guys just joined the Discord, make sure that you guys go up here where it says Kodi Kai Trades and click on Show All Channels. A lot of people have been asking, where do I find those spreadsheets? If you don't have that enabled, this is what it's going to look like. It's just going to show the stuff that is updated more recently. So if you want to see everything, make sure that you click on this up top, click on Show All Channels, and you'll see all the spreadsheets right here at the Trading Journal. All the strategies will be covered right here, announcements right here. If you guys are in the premium, the Zoom links will be posted up here. Live trading sessions, trading results, mentoring sessions, official profits are going to be my profits. So I wasn't able to cover this earlier this morning. So going over my profits for the day, this was my first funded engineer account locked in 470. This was my FTMO 430, second FTMO 530, third 530, my 200K account 1060, my second funded engineer account total profit of 230, my personal account locked in 147. This is my TFF 400 and my second TFF 400. So those are my individual profits. And I don't know if Gion's on here. He's probably not on here right now, but congrats to Gian over here. He just got funded 200K on FTMO. So he just passed his verification here and he just got funded. I don't think he's on here right now, but I'll give him another, congrats later during the session tomorrow. But yeah, no. So that's pretty much it for the Discord. If there's any questions here, I know there's a lot of people who have some confusion. Just let me know, and I'll clear up anything that that is needed over here. Well, yeah, so PC over here had suggestions. Said it would be great for each mentoring session we could tag the topics covered, preferably the time in the video the topics started. It'll be useful in the long run. Yeah, no, we could try to do that. The only problem is that it's a lot of work for me to go back and do that. So I think what we could do is we can put the topics in the video. So what I'll do here is I'll take notes right now on the side. I'll take notes while we're covering, but for the timestamp, that's a little, it's a little, I mean, if I have time later, I can do that, but it's just a lot of work for me to go back and just do that. Unless you guys want to do it, because you guys are still able to tag in the video as well. If you guys want to tag it in the comments. So, I mean, if that's something you want to do, PC, or someone who's like typically on these mentoring sessions, you guys can, but I will put, I'll actually do it over here. It's so I'll actually cut, I'll put it right here as well. So what I'll do here is I'll just topics covered. And then I'll put something like, so we covered the high low scalp V2. And let's put 1 minute. And then also 5 minutes. And if we cover anything else, I'll just update that. So it's just easier. So if you guys know which topics are covered, it's pretty easy to just fast forward in the video because we usually cover everything in order. So if we have that there, you can just fast forward to like when we start covering the actual strategy. And then once you get to the strategy part, you can always just backtrack from there. But I'll start doing this from here on. Thanks for PC for bringing up that suggestion. So I do think that's a good thing because a lot of people ask, which mentoring session to look to see what's been covered. And it's hard for us to bring it back because I have so many mentoring sessions that we host every week. So, all right, PC, thanks for that. And other than that, let's see. Also, Dijon's asking about the breakout V2. Sure. So I'll also do that as well. So we'll do that first. I'll actually cover the breakout V2 first for Dijon so that we can just do everything in order. And then we can go over to the new stuff after that. So, all right, let me just add that over here real quick in the Discord. One other update is going to be breakout V2. All right, so I'm going to do this stuff in order. Let's start off with an example of the breakout V2. So I'll show you guys the entry from today. Let's go over here. The breakout V2 happened. I believe it happened right over here. So we'll start off with this first, and then after that, we'll cover the high-low scalps. So, all right, Dijon, for the breakout V2, let me see if I could get the criteria up here. Breakout V2. Okay, so it's pretty simple and it's pretty straightforward. Let me I'll update the criteria because the criteria is actually a little more. I mean, it's not really that different. Check real quick. Yeah, actually, it's not very different. It's super simple. Okay, so the criteria here is pretty much exactly how it is on the spreadsheet over here. If you guys want to know the requirements for these specific strategies, just pull up the spreadsheet. Requirements are going to be up top. Right there for the momentum counter scalp, breakout V2, intraday scalp, and high-low scalp V2. So looking at the breakout V2, I'll show the one from today, Dijon. First, you want to identify the direction of momentum. Basically, first momentum on market open. So market open right here at 6:30. And you can see that we have a sell signal, right? So say, for example, there was no sell signal here, then we'd look for the buy signal. But since market opened right here at 6:30 and we had a sell signal, momentum is now bearish, right? So first thing you want to look for is the direction of momentum. Right here, we have a sell signal. So obviously direction for momentum is to sell. Doesn't have to be valid or invalid. It just has to be direction of momentum. With that said, you want to next look and identify two back-to-back candles in the direction of momentum. So let me just go back over here. Market open at 6:30. We had a sell signal. You're looking for two red candles. You're looking for two back-to-back candles in the direction of momentum. Obviously, you're looking for a sell here because you have a sell momentum. You need two red candles. Those are direction of momentum. If you get a green candle, it's obviously not in the direction of momentum, so it doesn't fit criteria. So you're looking for two red candles back-to-back. You can see here, there's one candle there. This we can't tell. If you get a candle like this, you're not going to guess, right? You're just going to skip it. You need to have two clear red candles. There's no two red candles right there. There's one red candle there. This here pretty much starts it over. Since this here wasn't two red, it starts it over. Here's one red. Move on to the next one. There's no two reds there. It starts it back over. You're looking for two red candles. There's one red candle there. Second red candle right there, right? There goes the breakout V2. You have a sell momentum here, two red candles back to back. You enter this for a sell. You go for a 25-25, 1-to-1 risk reward. And that's pretty much it. Once you have that set up right there, you let the trade run. You can see right there, it goes down close to TP. And right there, it blasts right through. So with that said, there goes an example of the breakout V2. It's pretty self-explanatory and pretty straightforward. You're just looking for a continuation in the direction of momentum. So we had a sell momentum, two red candles, entry happened right there, and then it went straight to TP. Some adjustments that might need to be made for this strategy moving forward is going to be the TP stop loss. Because it's kind of tight, it's at 25-25, but since volatility is picking up for the fall season, we might have to just make some adjustments to that. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dijon said, okay, that's pretty simple. Yeah, it's super straightforward. It's not like the original breakout, because for the original breakout, you'd have to identify what a strong candle was. And that was like something that was hard for a lot of people, right? So for example, if you were to be applying the strategy the original way, your entry would actually happen up here. So see how we have a sell momentum, trend is kind of swinging down, and you have a strong green candle right here, right? If you were to apply the original breakout, for those of you who are familiar with it, this would have been the original breakout right here. And you can see it still works. It's just, it's harder for a beginner to identify this because you need to know what a strong candle is, right? So I think the breakout V2 is a lot easier for a majority of people. And then looking at the stats for the breakout V2. So from August 14th up until October 10th, It was a total of 23 wins, 18 losses, total profit of 1,250 pips, total trades of 41 trades with a win-loss ratio of 56.10. This is a pretty good sample for this specific strategy because this is about 2 months of trading and it has above a 50% win rate. Since this is a 1-to-1 risk reward, you only need above a 50% to be profitable. So you can see over here, obviously the profits here, they ended up adding up, even though there's a bunch of losses here, there's a losing streak for a while right here, but they did add up because if you took every single trade, you'd have a winning streak right here that pretty much covered a lot of those losses. And then there's wins in between that pretty much offset the losses. Yeah, that's pretty much the stats for this specific strategy. Pretty straightforward and pretty easy to follow without much of subjectivity. So a lot of the strategies that I try to introduce to you guys, or if I make some adjustments, it's to make a strategy more objective and not subjective. Because if it's subjective, you have to have some skill in identifying candle patterns and specific things that can be different for the experienced trader and the not so experienced. So that's why I created this V2 to make things a lot easier. So there's not really much of a guess. There's no guessing here. You just look at 2 following candles in the direction of momentum, and then you ride the wave in that direction, of course. Yeah, Dijon said he likes the V2 better because the back-to-back candles give more of a confirmation. Yeah, exactly, Dijon. And that's what I was doing. I was trying to make things a lot more simpler for pretty much everybody here. So there goes the breakout V2. If you need to see any more examples, let me know, but it's pretty straightforward. I'm pretty sure you can follow that, right? Momentum signal, 2 green candles. The momentum signal for a buy, 2 green candles, momentum signal for a sell, 2 red candles. It's pretty straightforward. So, all right, that's it with the breakout V2. Now I'll cover some examples of the high low scalp V2. So going back to, let's go back to a previous day because the market today it wasn't a good day to trade, obviously. Let me see if there's any more entries that happened on, let's say, Friday. Or I could even go to Monday. Let's see. Or actually Monday was a holiday. I'm going to go to a day where we actually traded. So let's say Friday. I think we took an entry on Friday, I believe. Yeah, so we took one on Friday over here. Let's go back to Friday. It'll be a lot easier for us to identify an entry. So Friday over here, I'll replay to 8 o'clock. I'll put the criteria for the strategy up here. High low scalp V2. So here goes the high low scalp V2 on the 1 minute. This is one of the, somewhat official strategies that we're applying. It's one of the ones that I'm taking. I'm taking this and the momentum pullback scalps. Those are pretty much the 2 main strategies that I'm applying myself. Obviously, if I'm applying it, it has to work because I'm not going to apply something that's not working very well. And it's just a small variation to the original high low scalp. So the difference with this high low scalp and the original, let me just show you guys real quick. So let me put them side by side so that you guys can see the difference between them two. So main difference with high low scalp V2 is that you're not confirming the overall bias, you're just confirming the trend. So let me just, I'll put an arrow where things are slightly different. And it wouldn't really matter because you wouldn't be, if you're applying one of them, you're probably just going to apply one of them. You're not going to apply both. So let me go to the symbols, and I hate how they change the symbols. Okay, there we go. So this one's slightly different because for the high low scalp strategy, you needed to confirm the overall bias. For the V2, you're just confirming the trend. So you can use a bias, but it's not necessary. This is just, it's an easier criteria. The second criteria is the same, looking for the breaking close. I didn't put this criteria in here, but it's pretty much, it's usually going to line up with that. So for this one over here, you're looking for, you're trading in the direction of momentum, but you'll see a lot of these entries here that come up, it's going to be lined up that way. It's pretty much automatic. You don't have to confirm that. It's just an extra criteria. So you'll see the entry that I'll show you today. It's going to be showing up there. It's just, I didn't put the criteria because it's almost always there without having to look for it. Also, the 5th criteria right here, we don't really care if it's ranging or not. So it's basically just an easier strategy. So it's easier for step 1. We don't even look at step 4 because it's automatic. Step 5, we don't really care if it's ranging or consolidating. We just take a trade either way. And step 6. So like basically half of the requirements aren't necessary for this specific strategy. Step 6. So step 1 is easier. It's just one step instead of the overall bias. Step 4 is automatic, so it's not even there anymore. Step 5, we don't care about that. And step 6, we don't care about that either. So basically, it's a high-low scalp strategy, except it's easier requirements, and you're just looking for a confirmation, if that makes sense. It'll make sense once I cover the actual strategy here. So let me show you the requirements. Looking at the requirements here, first you want to confirm the trend using the pivots. So in order for you to confirm the trend using the pivots here, you want to make sure that price is above the pivots are angling up, and you have the red pivot below all the other pivots. So if price is above the pivots, the red pivot's below all the other pivots, well, I don't want to call it by color. I'll identify this as level 4. That's why it says L4 there. So it says all pivots above L4 for a buy, all pivots below L4 for a sell. I don't want to call it by color because different people color these pivots different colors. So I'm going to call it level 4. So level 4 basically has to be below all the pivots for a buy. And in order for you to look for a sell, pivot 4 has to be above all the pivots. So does that make sense, guys? If there's any confusion, let me know. But you're basically just looking for level 4 to be below all the other ones for a buy or above for a sell. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You can see over here for my red pivot, whenever the red pivot is above all the other pivots, you can see how price goes into a downtrend, right? And then vice versa, you can see over here when the red pivot is below all the other pivots, price is in an uptrend. So once you guys like see it with your eyes, it's pretty easy to identify. You don't have to really look for much. You're just looking for like where the pivots are sitting. So for step 1, you want to confirm the trend using the pivots. You can see over here that price is above the pivots. The trend meter is green. This is another confluence. You don't have to use the trend meter, but the trend meter does help when identifying what the trend is. You're just matching the pivots with the trend. And once you have that, you can start looking for buys. So the entry that we took on Friday was over here at about 716. Entry happened. I think the time was off on this guy. Sorry, I know I kind of just let me look at this screenshot over here. It was actually for a sell. My bad. I was right. So it was actually for a sell. I was just looking for a buy there. Well, let me just go back over here and I'll show you the entry that we took over here. So 716. All right, so the entry is right over here. So going to step 1, first you want to confirm the trend using the pivots. You can see price here is below the pivots. The pivots are angling down. The red pivot is above all the other pivots. That's the main thing you're looking for. You're looking for this red pivot or level 4, and you want to make sure that all the pivots are below it. So with that said, you can see over here that price is currently bearish, right? So that now that you've confirmed that price is bearish, second, you want to confirm price breaking close past the nearest high low in the direction of the trend. So let me go back over here real quick. 1 second. Sorry, I got to go back and just review this because I'm not sure if we took it off this level or if we took it off this level. I'm pretty sure it was this level right here. So this broke past it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, it was this level down here. This strategy is harder to backtest because there's so many different levels. You have to like actually know where the levels switch from. So, all right. Now that I know where the entry is at, let me go over here. I'll just start from the beginning. Sorry, guys. Let's just start over from the beginning. Sorry, it's confusing because there's different levels here. I wasn't sure which one it was based off, but now I know it's this one right here because it never came back up for this one. So the timestamp says 716 because the actual entry happened over here. But the setup started setting up right here at 707. So let's start over. Step 1 over here, confirm trend using the pivots. You can see here that price is bearish. Like we mentioned earlier, the red pivot's above all of the other pivots. So it's obviously bearish. The trend meter down below is also red. So you have a second confluence there. You have 2 confluences of a bearish trend. You can see that price is bearish here. You're going to look for sells. So step 1, confirm the trend. It's obviously bearish here. Step 2, confirm price breaking close past the nearest high low in the direction of the trend. So right here we have a lower low. Doesn't matter if it's a high low or a lower low. It just has to be any type of high low. You can see that this candle right here breaks and closes past the high low, right? So that's going to be step 2. Step 1 is met, it's bearish. Step 2, confirm price breaking close past the nearest high low. Price broken close right here. Third, you want to confirm a fake out at the same high low within 5 candles. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for price to swing back above this zone or this level, and you want price to close above it. So within the first 5 candles here, we have to get that. So you can see over here that price continues to go sideways right here. It climbs back up right there. It hasn't broken close past it yet. Keeps going sideways, and finally, price finally swings above right here. So this is the first candle. You're counting 5 candles after. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is right here is the 5th candle. Once you confirm the 5th candle, that's going to be the next step. So let's go over the criteria again. Step 1, confirm the trend, bearish. Step 2, confirm price breaking close past the nearest high low in the direction of the trend. We're looking for price to come down below, and you can see this candle here breaks past this high low. Once you confirm that, going to step 3, confirm a price fake out at the same high low within 5 candles. So this candle broke past it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5th candle. It faked out right there. That's going to be step 3. For step 4, once this happens, you're going to set a pending order at this price right here where the high low is at, right? So basically this high low was at 33,080. This is where the setup would line up at. And your TP stop loss is going to be a 1-to-1 risk reward for 300 pips. So once you have that there, now you're just waiting for price to come back down and shoot to your TP. But again, here, it needs to fill within the first 5 candles. So this right here is a fake out. You have 1 candle right here. You have the 2nd candle right there. You have the 3rd candle right there. And there goes the 4th candle. On the 4th candle right here, price comes down and fills your order. And at this point, you're now in the position. So you can see this is why our timestamp was at 7:16, because even though the entry started to set up over here at 7:06, the actual entry didn't happen until 7:16. And that's why on the spreadsheet over here, we have it set at 7:16. So once we have that set up right there, we let the trade run. You can see it comes down a little bit and goes straight to TP. So there goes an example of the high low scalp V2. It's a little complicated, but like once you look at the setup here, it's really not that difficult. It's actually a lot easier. So well, in a sense, what we did here was instead of getting caught in fake outs, we would have just waited for the fake out and then enter on the correction back down. It's pretty straightforward. If there's any questions, guys, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll see if there's any other entries here that we can look at for an example. But I don't know if there was anything else that came up on Friday. So let's see, price started shifting up right here. All right, so price broke right here, didn't come back down for the fake out. So this high low was not used. This high low is also not used. This high low is also not used. You can see price broke and closed above it, but it didn't fake out back below. Okay, there's another entry right here actually. So let me show you guys another example, but now for a buy. So here goes an example for a buy applying the high low scalp V2. So looking at this right here, we just looked at a sell. We're now looking for a buy. So the reason why we're looking for a buy here is because the trend is now bullish, right? The trend was bearish down here for this entry. So we look for a sell. Price is now bearish or bullish over here. So now we're now looking for a buy. So same thing here. First step, confirm the trend using the pivots. You can see that the trend here is bullish. Price is above the pivots. The pivots are angling up. You have red pivot below all the other pivots, or level 4 below all the other pivots. And down below, we have the trend here, which is green. So it's pretty obvious that we're in a bullish trend here. Since we're in a bullish trend, we're going to be looking for a buy. Step 2, you want to confirm price breaking close past the nearest high low. You can see that this high low right here has not been broken yet, broken and closed past. So it's still useful. This candle right here broken closed past it. Once this candle is broken and closed past it, that's going to be step 2. Step 3, you want to confirm a fake out within 5 candles, right? So this next candle over here fakes out. You can see how price breaks past it, fakes out right here. Once you have that fake out, what do you do next? You put your TP stop loss right here for the correction back to the upside. Once you have that set up like that right there, now you just wait for price to come up, fill your order, and continue climbing to your TP. So step 1, confirm the trend, it's bullish. Step 2, confirm price break and close right here. Step 3, confirm price faked out on this next candle. Step 4, set a pending entry in the direction of trend, must fill within 5 candles. So this has to fill within 5 candles. If it doesn't, then you cancel it. This next candle over here pushes up slightly, hasn't filled it yet. Pending order is still waiting. Okay, right here, you can see the order is now filled. The trade is active. It climbs up higher and straight to TP. So there goes an example of a buy. Same day, we didn't take this trade. I forgot why. I think we might have just missed it or we just skipped it. But this is the same trade, just in the opposite direction. So bullish trend, confirm price break and close, fake out, continuation back to the upside for the correction. Would have filled right here, the pending order, straight to TP. So that's an example of the high-low scalp V2. If there's any questions, guys, feel free to put them in the chat. I know this is kind of new to a lot of people, so if there's anything that you're confused with, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll try to find another example. But I don't think we took any more entries that week. Yeah, I don't think there weren't many entries that came up that week. Because looking over here on Thursday, we took a momentum pullback scalp and not a high-low scalp V2. So if there's any questions regarding it, guys, let me know now. Otherwise, I'll try to look for one more entry. And if not, then we'll move on to the 5-minute version of the strategy. Let's go back to Thursday. See if there was anything that day. I don't think there was, because we would have taken it if there was. All right, 8 o'clock right here. All right, price is bullish. I'll just look around. I don't think there's anything here. Nothing there. See, price broke 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there was one right here. Yeah. So here's another example for a buy that happened on Thursday. This happened at like 7:26. I think there was probably news around this time, so we decided not to take it, or we just didn't take it. But here goes another example of a high-low scalp V2. So high-low scalp V2. First, you want to confirm the trend. Obviously, you can see right here it's bullish. You can see the level 4 pivot is below all the other pivots. Price is above the pivots, and pivots are angling up. So we have a bullish trend right here. Looking over here, we have step 1. Step 2, you want to confirm price break and close past the pivot. So with that said, we have a low right here, lower high. Price broke and close on this green candle. Within 5 candles, price faked out. So price broke past it. 1, 2, 3. Third candle right here, price faked out. Once that happened, you're now setting a pending order for a buy right here. Once you have that set up right there, this is the entry. So you have a lower high right here, price broke and closed past it, faked out. Now you're just waiting for price to fill your pending order and go to your TP. Once you have that set up right there, you let the trade run. And you can see right there, it went straight to TP on the second candle. So it's a pretty simple strategy. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, if there's any confusion, I don't think there's much confusion, but I think for a new trader, this might be a little confusing because there's just a lot of moving pieces. But if you identify enough entries here, with the back test, you'll be able to identify it a lot easier when it happens live. The thing with the strategy too is cool because there's a lot of time in between. Like you'll have a candle in between before you actually have to go and look for entry. So that there's a lot of different opportunities for you to just take a break, review it, make sure it's right, instead of just entering it right away. And the fact that you're putting a pending order in is that it makes it a lot simpler as well. So yeah, guys, if there's any other questions regarding this strategy, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the 5-minute version of it. And then we'll wrap up the session if there's no other questions. So I don't see any questions. We'll move on to the 5-minute version of it. I don't think I have criteria for it for the 5-minute. Let me see. I don't scalping too. So for the 5-minute, I'm still testing it because I mean it doesn't really come up very often since I still trade only between 6:30 and 8. And with this being on the 5 minute, there's just not much criteria. There's not that many entries that are available. If you trade all day, there's a lot more entries that come up, but I don't trade all day, so it's not really feasible for me unless it actually comes up. CJ said, congrats on Gian getting funded. Yeah, Gian, congrats to you, bro. Yeah, Gian actually joined the room. So Gion's here on the Zoom now. He just got funded today. Passes 200K this morning, took about 2 trades. So Gian over here took 2 trades this morning, made 2,150, and he passed his verification right there. He kind of dug himself a hole initially. You can see his max daily loss went down to negative 8,500, but he climbed his way all the way back up. So he went negative 8,500, came back with 12,000 profit. So he came back from a pretty deep hole. He basically passed 2 challenges because he was in drawdown 8,000, and then he made 12,000 on top of that. So he pretty much made over 20,000. Yeah, Gian said, keep calm when you're in drawdown. Keep your cool. Yes, if Gian here kept his cool, he went pretty deep into drawdown where he almost like went halfway to blowing his account, and then he came all the way back up. So congrats to Gian over here. He actually did a lot better than he needed to, because he pretty much made back another 10%. He only needs to make 5%, but since he was in drawdown, he had to make back that 5%, and then he made another 5% on top of it. So he technically made 10% to pass that verification. And yeah, Gion's now funded on a 200K account. So nice work, Gian. Yeah, no, it's good work. You know, a lot of people, they get squeezed out. If this happens to a lot, I see this happens to a lot of people. They'll start their verification. Verification is supposed to be easier, but for a lot of people, it's actually harder. You know, people they'll start off way too confident, and they take dumb trades and they get too overly excited, and then they end up, you know, digging a super deep hole. And then they end up in this like 8,000 drawdown. And then what happens is they're like, you know, whatever, just YOLO. And they end up YOLOing it. And then when that happens, it gets pretty bad, guys. Because when you start to YOLO your account, you go into this over trading, revenge trading phase. And then, you know, sooner, like the next thing you know, you have a blown account. And that happens with a lot of people. So, you know, congrats to Gian here and for keeping us cool and climbing his way out of that hole and back into profit. So nice work, Gian. Yeah, exactly. Gian said, yeah, it was when the start of phase 2. It happens with a lot of people, guys. Like if it happens to you, don't worry. It's normal. The thing is, you just have to be able to keep your cool and stick to the game plan. Don't change your strategies. Don't change your trading plans. Stick to whatever you were doing when you passed your challenge. And you should be able to make your way back. And if you guys have been following Gian, you know, Gion's username over here on Discord is that dude. You can see over here, he just takes like 1 or 2 trades. Takes about 2 trades a day. And then he's done. He's locked in 2,000 today. You can see the day before, Gian posted his profits over here, locked in 1,100. The day before that. And you can just scroll over here. If you guys go down to profits, team profits, you can see everybody's profits here. Here's Gian from the day before that. Where's he at? Locked in 2,000. So he was on a pretty nice win streak that just brought him right back up. So if you look over here, if you look at Gion's profits, he's pretty much, he was consistent for the last 2 weeks, and then he made his way back up and finally passed his you know, verification. Yeah, exactly. Gian said you missed a few already. Yeah, there's just too many there. Yeah, if you guys want to go back and check, you'll see. If you want to track Gion's trading plan, you can see what he takes. He takes about 1 or 2 trades a day, locks in those wins, calls it a day, comes back the next day, does the same. He does exactly what I do. You know, I take 1 or 2 trades a day, and I'm pretty much done after that. So all right, let me cover an example for the 5 minute. Again, I'm still working on the 5 minute. The 5 minutes are actually a lot more relaxed compared to the 1 minute, because the 5 minute, you just have a lot more time to take entries here. So I'm going to see if I can find an entry here, but I don't think we're really going to find much because a lot of these entries happen outside of trading session. Yeah, exactly. Gian said, yeah, 1 2 good quality trades protects his inner peace. Yeah, it's all about trade psychology, guys. If you guys don't screw up your trade psychology, it'll make the biggest difference for you guys. Trust me. It'll make like all the difference when trying to recover from a loss. So, all right, let me go over here real quick and I'll show you guys. The 5 minute is basically the same strategy. It's just done on a higher time frame. So, and there's no minimum candles to follow. You pretty much, you just wait for it to follow through. Actually, this one right here happened really quick. You just pretty much you take it whenever it comes up. So again, right here, I'll put up the High Low Scalp V2. The criteria is different though. So just keep that in mind, guys. For the 5 minute, it's very different. Well, it's not very different. It's very different in a sense that you don't need to follow like the minimum of 5 candles. So like the fake out doesn't have to happen within 5 candles and the entry doesn't have to happen within 5 candles. It just, whenever the setup comes up, you just wait for the entry to come up and eventually it does come up. So again, right here, you want to confirm the trend using the pivots. You can see that this candle right here broke and closed past it at 8:55. This is on Monday, October 9th, yesterday. There's a higher high right here. It doesn't matter again if it's a higher high or lower low. It just needs to be any type of high or any type of low. So there's a higher high right here. You're confirming the trend is bullish. You can see all the pivots are above the level 4 pivot. Second, you want to confirm price break and close past the nearest high low. This candle right here broke and closed past it. That's step 2. Step 3, confirm price fakes out within the first 5 candles. Again, the 5 candle requirement doesn't matter because this is the 5 minute time frame. You can see this candle right here fakes out. So price breaks past it, fakes out right here. And what happens next? You set your entry right there. The only difference with the 5 minute is that since it's a higher time frame, you can probably go for a bigger TP stop loss. So instead of going for 30-30, I would go for 50-50, 500 pips, because it's a longer trade. This could be an intraday trade. It's not going to be a scalping more at this point. It'll probably turn into an intraday trade or even a swing trade if the market's going sideways. So same setup here. Price broke, closed past it. Price faked out. You have a pending order right there. Price comes up and fills your order. Go sideways for a bit and go straight to your TP. So same strategy. The only difference is there's no minimum candle requirement. So there goes the entry right over there. Let me see if there's another one here that came up. Okay, there's another one right here. So this is one that happened right there. And then this is another one that happened before it. So same thing here again. Confirm the trend, right? Trend still bullish. Nothing's changed here. Trend still bullish. Confirm price break and close past it right here. Now you're looking for the fake out. Price kind of goes up for a little bit. Doesn't matter. That's fine. Price tries to fake out right there. It fakes out on this candle. Once that you get that fake out, you do the same thing. Pending order again right there. And same difference, right? You're just waiting for the candle to come up and fill. You can see right here that it fills on the next candle. And then eventually it comes up and goes straight through a TP. Another 500 pips. So if you took 2 of those entries, there was one right here at 9 o'clock. And there was another one right here. Actually, there was 2 at 9 o'clock. So there's this one right here and another one right here. If you took both entries, that'd be a total profit of 1,000 pips within 1 day. I mean, within like a couple minutes. And you can see that these entries sometimes overlap. So the difference with this too is that you can take basically, if a lot of them come up, you can take them with a smaller lot size and just stack your trades. With 1 minute, you're only taking one at a time. So. All right, guys. I mean, you guys can see it's pretty simple. There's not really too much guesswork here. I mean, you're kind of just following the criteria. If the criteria lines up, then you take it. Again, the 5 minute and the 1 minute, it's different with regard to criteria, meaning minimum candles and just time span of entering the trades. So the 5 minute, like I mentioned, you're probably not going to find too many entries between 6:30 and 8 because it doesn't happen too often. But if you trade it all throughout New York session, you'll probably find some entries, basically between 6:30 and 11 for the most part. All right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I think this is pretty much it for the day. Let's see, one question here from William. William's asking, and to set a pending order on FTMO, MT4, MT5, one simply calculates the difference from YM to FTMO and enter that calculated number in order to fill. I mean, you can do that. Realistically, you're not going to do that, William. You're not going to have time to do that. Like, if you're going to try to do that, I mean, your math must be like, you must be a calculator yourself, because there's no way you're going to be able to do that within like a couple seconds. Like, the entry today happened so quickly that there's no way you can do that. It's impossible. I mean, if you can do it, obviously that'd be the better option, but realistically, that's not going to be the case, right? So yeah, exactly. So yeah, William said, yes, too quick. I've been entering manually. So I would probably just enter manually if you can. If you do want to put a pending order, I think calculating it is not going to work, not on the 1 minute. It's just way too fast. You're going to miss the entry. It's just pretty much impossible. So what I do is I look at the high low. So for example, say, let me look at the entry. I think I already when the last entry was. All right, Friday. Or I'll just show you, for example, let me just go back to that Friday. So what I'll typically do is I'll line up the high with whatever the high is on MC4. That's where I put my pending order. It's the same thing. The candles are about the same. There's nothing really different about it. So what I'll do here is, let's see. But manually is probably going to be your fastest way to enter these trades. Let me check this timestamp. Timestamp for 7/16. That one's for a sell. On Friday. Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to enter these trades, but I mean, it's just up to preference. For me personally, I think it's going to be way too fast for you to do all those calculations, because the thing is, price is different. You can't just subtract the price. Like, for example, over here, if you look at price, it's like, or actually I can't even see it right now, but yeah, if you were to look at price here, like say, for example, if you wanted to look at, what's my thing at? Oh, I can't because I'm back in time. So if you wanted to look at price over here, price is currently at 33,905. You could do the math. You'll just subtract 33,905 by 33,735. But realistically, you're not going to be able to identify that. It's going to be too much work. So like if you wanted to do that, you'll be like, okay, 33,905 minus 33,735. And this is not going to be, it's still not going to be as on point, because the thing is that the price is changing. So right now market's closed, so it's not moving. It's just set, right? You know what the price is, but during live trading time, this is changing between like 33,905 to 33,910, 910, and then you're going to see the FT mode is going to be changing too. It's too fast. There's no way to do the math. I think it's pretty much impossible to do it that way, not for the 1 minute. So like basically the way that I do it is, let me see where that entry was. The entry was right here, 7/16. Okay, so what I do here is, let's go back to it. Okay, so the entry would have been right here, right at this high right here. I would just line up, I would look at my MT4 and I'm like, okay, there's the same candle that's on MT4. That's exactly where your entry has to be. So that's where you're putting the entry on your MT4. You don't have to do the pricing difference. You're just looking at like wherever it is on your MT4. You get what I'm saying, William? I want to make sure that you're following along before I keep going, because I don't want you to be confused. And you know, this is kind of okay. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, William said he does the same. He eyes the MT4 candle. So that's literally what I do too, guys. So like, so for example, here price comes down, comes back up for the fake out. And when I'm setting the pending order here, I'm looking at like what candle the low is on, right? So I'm looking at what the candle is on here, and then I'm also looking at my MT4, which is on a different screen, because you'll see which candle it is. It's like pretty obvious. You're going to see which candle has that wick where the low's at, and that's where you're going to put your pending order. So I just eye that candle right there. I put my pending order at that point, and that's how I set my pending order. It's never going to be exact, so you still want to be watching it. So for example, if you're going to enter the trade here, I'm going to follow. Like for example, today, you guys remember how I entered my trade? The slippage was crazy. Like it pushed me up and I got in at like a 5-point spread. And then on top of that, I had the spread on top of that. So I had a double spread. Basically, slippage got me in at a bad entry point, and then I had to cover the spread still. So basically what I would do here is when the trade fills, and you see how the trade fills right there, when it fills, when it gets down to TP, I have my finger ready on my close button. So if it doesn't close me out at MT4, I just click close. And when it hits this point right here, I'm already out of the position. For this right here, obviously it blasts through your TP because obviously you can see it blasts through it, but sometimes it'll be so close to your TP where you just have to manually close out. So that's basically what I do, William. Your idea was that's ideal, but it's not really possible on the 1 minute. You could probably do it on a higher time frame, like the 5 minute, because you have more time for entry. But on the 1 minute, it's just way too fast paced. So you could either enter manually, or just do what we mentioned, enter at the same candle on MT4. Yeah, no, definitely. We're doing the same exact thing, William. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So I think that's going to be a question that people have moving forward. I know it's hard to basically enter at the same price of YM versus MT4 because their pricing is always going to be different, but that's probably the best way to do it. All right, so I think other than that, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm here to help you guys out. So whatever you guys need help with, this is going to be your time to ask for help. But other than that, I think that might be it. So I think this is going to be one of our staples moving forward, guys. I think our main two strategies that we'll be applying officially would be the momentum pullback scalp, of course. And the high low scalp V2. That's pretty much it. Anything more than this is just going to be too much work. And the thing with this is that sometimes these overlap. So you're going to have an entry that's kind of running at the same time, which is going to be a better confluence for us anyways. So I think these two will be our two main official strategies that we'll be looking to take. We'll still be looking at the breakout V2. We'll be looking at the intraday scalp and other entries, of course. But for the most part, I think these are the ones that we're going to be focusing on because these here they just flow in the type of, and they fall in line with our strategy, or not our strategy, with our trading style the most versus the others. There's a lot of other strategies here that you can apply, like for example, the intraday scalp, or there's a lot of different strategies that you can still apply, but I think these work better with our live trading session time. Because these typically have at least 1 or 2 entries that come up between 6:30 and 8. And a lot of the other strategies, they do come up, but they're also at a negative risk reward. For these are at a 1-to-1, except for the momentum pullback scalp. This is like a 1-to-2 or a 2-to-1, but it's a high win rate strategy. So it's a good strategy to apply regardless. So I'd rather do a 2-to-1 and a 1-to-1 versus doing a 3-to-1. 3-to-1 still works fine, but obviously if you lose one trade with a 3-to-1, you're going to be in a hole. If you take a high low scalp V2, it's a 1-to-1. So you win one trade, you're in profit. You lose one trade, you're at break even. So it's a lot easier versus applying something where you have to be super on point when you're taking the entry. Because if you're doing a negative risk reward, you can't make any mistakes. For these, at least you make a mistake, still do well. And you have opportunity of pulling out because the TP stop loss is pretty far out. And yes, Aaron, for the high low scalp V2, it is a 30-30. So 30-30 for the high low scalp V2. All right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll wrap this up. We've been on this mentoring session for about an hour now. I'm willing to stay on, but if there's no questions, we'll just wrap it up. And we'll come back here tomorrow for the next session. Let's see, one other question from Dan. He's asking, did you think changing the TP stop loss? No, I haven't thought of it yet because so the thing with the momentum pullback scalp is, that would be fine. Now that we're going to higher volatility, that could be a good idea, Dan. So you're right. That might be something that we could implement moving forward. The only problem is that we need to confirm that it's going to work well that way. I think it would. So, I'll keep that in mind moving forward. So if we need to make changes, because the volatility is a lot higher. But again, for today, the volatility was super low. It was at like 15. So we make sure that volatility stays high, because if it goes back to like 15 or below 20, there's like no point, right? Like for example, today we took the high low scalp V2, but I pulled out early because the volatility was so low. So you can see over here, just looking at the chart from today, I think the highest we got was like 17. But pretty much the rest of the morning was like super low at like 10. You can see over here from this morning, it went from like 17 on open down to like 14, 13, 12, 9. That's crazy. Right here at 9 o'clock, ATR was at 9. So yeah, I haven't really confirmed it, but you know, we just got to adapt with the market, guys. The market's always changing, so you have to adapt with what the market gives you. That's the thing with trading. So with trading, you're never going to really master the market. The market's always shifting. I think the good thing now is that we have these spreadsheets. So these spreadsheets really help with identifying what strategies to use during certain, you know, different market conditions. So for example, over here, you can see during April, May, June, the strategy we applied a lot was the high low momentum scalp, right? It's a good ranging strategy. So when the market's ranging, we can apply that. Right now, the market's moving directional, so we're applying the counter scalp, or we're applying the pullback scalp and the high low scalp V2. So yeah, these spreadsheets are going to come in handy next year. So we'll know exactly what to apply during that, you know, during that time period. But yeah, I mean, for the moment, I think we're good at as is. We just got to stick to the game plan and not really change too much unless necessary. So yeah, definitely, Dan. So all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll wrap this up for the week, not the week, for the day. And we'll be back here tomorrow for the next live session. Yeah, no problem, PC. No problem, CJ. All right, guys, thanks for attending the mentoring session. You guys pretty much did this for a majority of other people in the group who didn't attend, but we'll be viewing this later. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I pretty much answered all the questions for today, and we'll be wrapping this up for the afternoon. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys back.